As freshman parents, we're happy you can join us tonight for our freshman orientation night. Let me do some brief housekeeping. Tonight we're having our freshman orientation night for both traditional calendar students as well as LoSal at home. The format, we'll do our presentation, various assistant principals as well as myself, as well as our Leif and also our PTSA. My name is Greg Stone. I'm the interim principal here. I was here for 21 years as administrator, retired a couple years ago, but came back now to help out. Familiar with the community. I've lived here for over 30 years in Seal Beach and have 2 Griffin graduates. Part of the administrative staff, Kiva Speratos. She's assistant principal over activities and attendance. Her email is there. Dr. Kenneth Lepore, assistant principal. He is overseeing LoSal at home. His email is also listed there. Jason Farver, assistant principal over academics and counseling. Philip Bowen, assistant principal, student services. David Molenkamp, assistant principal, visual and performing arts. Richard Smith, assistant principal over athletics. We have a counseling team. They're not with us tonight, but I wanted to share their photos as well as their contact information. Shelley Reichenberg, she handles the first part of the alphabet. If your student's last name begins with A through COI, Ms. Reichenberg is your counselor. Students with last names COJ to GRE, Jody Hutchinson would be the counselor. GRF to LEE is Ms. Gail Davenport. LEF to NT, Tina Heron. NU to SHI, Matt Ream. And Christy Ricks will do SHJ through Z. Our counseling team also includes 2 full-time school psychologists as well as 2 part-time. Christina Park is part-time at Los Alamitos High School as well as other schools in the district. Venus Belial is also part-time on the right-hand side. Kaylee Peacock and Christine Morris are both full-time school psychologists here at the high school. They work closely with the administrative team as well as the counseling team. Marianne Schaefer is also a counselor. She is the coordinator for our College and Career Center. Her email contact is also there. And also while we have it, this PowerPoint will also be on our website tomorrow. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Jason Farver, and he will talk a little bit about the academics at LoSal.
Good evening, Los Alamitos. Thank you for joining us from the comfort of your own home this evening. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the many academic pathways we have available for you here at Los Alamitos High School. As you enter as a freshman, our household actually has a freshman joining us as a Griffin this year. You'll have many choices presented to you. I'm fortunate that I get to work with our amazing counseling team, who undoubtedly you've been in touch with over the last few weeks as we prepare to open school, though distantly, to get you slotted into all the courses that you'll need. For this year, you will have all selected either English or English 1 honors. There are a variety of mathematics courses that many freshmen choose from. Most often, our freshmen pick biology as their introductory science course, some form of physical education or athletic team. If you haven't started already, this is the year you would start typically a new language. And then also many look into a visual or performing art. Along your high school career, we have many other options to pursue courses in career and technical education. We offer pursuits in video and television production, sports medicine, child and career development, fire technology, computer science, and engineering. There's something for everyone at Los Alamitos High School, and at some point you may choose to try an advanced placement course. Those are governed by College Board, and our teachers on campus provide an opportunity for students to prepare for an exam that's nationally held at the end of the year that can count as college credit, depending on the college or university you select to attend. Every year, you'll meet with your counselor as well as our staff in the College and Career Center to revise and revisit your plan. Just because you've selected something freshman year and you have an idea about where you want to go, the consistent check-ins and working collaboratively with your counselor and our College and Career Center will help you refine based on your experiences and new ideas or interests that you may develop throughout high school. Once again, we're really looking forward to having you here at the high school, and we hope to see you soon. While I'm up here, I'd like to talk to both parents and students about some necessary academic information for logging into coursework starting Monday, August 31st. Every student has been assigned a golosal.net email account. If you're returning to us from an 8th grade site here in the district, it's the exact same email address that you've used since 6th grade. It's been actually assigned to you much longer, but you were probably logging into Google Drives and Google Classrooms in middle school. The website you should remember is listed at the top, mylosal.golosal.net. Here, you will enter your @golosal.net student email account, and it will eventually, with your password, unlock our tiled portal that provides you access to many programs and web portals that we use at Los Alamitos High School. If you notice, in the upper left-hand corner is the school's PLP tile, which is our learning management system selected for distance learning. This will be important that you log in because this will be where you find your individual course portals for the 2020-2021 school year. You'll also notice that we have the Gmail icon in the middle of the first row. This is where you can check and send email from your student@golosal.net email account. If you're having trouble remembering your full email address or your individual password, this is where a parent or guardian at home can help you out. Parent.losal.org is the web portal where your adult can log into their account and find your login information to access learning at LoSal. When parents log in using the email address they've registered with, they'll select the demographics bar from the left, student data tab number 2, and then they will look to find your student email address and the randomly assigned login information that connects to your specific student email address. If by chance the adult cannot remember how to log into their Aries parent portal, they may contact the high school or our technology help desk for retrieving their personal data. At this time, I'd like to call Mr. Richard Smith, our Assistant Principal of Athletics, to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Farber. Good evening, Griffin families. Thanks for joining us this evening. Like many things in our world right now, high school athletics are going to have a little bit of a different look. I'm going to ask that we first visit our athletics page at the school website. From our athletics page, you can see that each sport that we offer has an individual link. And we're not going to click on one of those right now, but all of those links lead to a spot where you can find contact information for a coach. So I know there's going to be a lot of questions of how do we join the team, when are tryouts, what's practice going to look like. All those things can be answered directly, or more importantly, specifically for your coach. We had a coaches meeting today, and coaches were told about this 9th grade information night, and so they're on high alert to check their emails over the next couple days, assuming that there are going to be questions about how do you become involved in their program. So second part, Mr. Bowen, if you'll scroll just a little. Oh, no, just, yeah, there. You can see that our governing body of high school sports, CIF, has changed the way sports are laid out for this year. So there will be only 2 seasons of sport, a fall and a spring. You can see them listed here. So that may impact some of the decisions you are making relative to teams or programs I want to be involved with. So that, again, that's available on my website. If you scroll up just a hair, Mr. Bowen, to the top of that, I do also want to note that we are currently within the athletic phase of reopening schools in phase 1. So that really puts a damper on what can be accomplished. There are teams practicing on our campus right now, fall teams, and that looks like a group of 10 kids in pods and only outside activities. So until we move to a different phase, practices, 6-period activities, and things of that nature are going to be a challenge. Fall sports are going to be given priorities for facilities because we are struggling to get numbers in particular areas due to our current guidelines. So when that changes, coaches will be made aware of it, and then that will find its way out, I'm sure, to the parents and the programs as well. So I will stick around later for questions, but right now we'll bring up Ms. Kiva Speratos, the Master of Activities.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Good evening, freshman families. What a joy to have you at Los Alamitos High School, where you will forever, once a Griffin, always a Griffin. We're absolutely delighted to have you join the Griffin family, the Griffin Nation, and even when things look a little different, when things still the same, and that's the pride that we share as a Griffin family and the love that we have for our students and the success that we bring about together as a team for every student graduating a Griffin. So we look forward to celebrating next week and just having a wonderful journey along the way where we will be there to support you every single step. So in addition to activities or academics and athletics, another one of our A's, 2 of them, attendance and activities as well. So attendance is big. We need to come to school in order to be magnificent. The best resource that you have is the website that Mr. Farber spoke of before, and then we will also, I'll show it to you in a minute. It's parent.losal.org. That is your resource to your Aries Access portal. In there, you'll be able to find attendance. We will be taking attendance during our distant learning. It is very important. We'll be taking attendance when the period starts and when the period ends in order to hold students accountable for all of their moments that we have. It is not a hold harmless attendance. It is a full graded attendance and full graded value for the academics that students will be having this semester and forward at Los Alamitos High School. You really want to bookmark the parent.losal.org website in order for you to have quick access to share with your student about their grades, about their attendance, and anything in terms of their success. We really recommend that you do this once or twice a week. So planning it for Sundays, planning it for Wednesdays, whatever you do, but make it culture in your family that you sit down together and check in to your Aries portal for an update on their progress. We also have, for our students on Friday, when you come to the high school, each student will receive a freshman planner complimentary of Los Alamitos High School. It's a great way to get organized, set goals, make sure that students hold themselves accountable. You work to hold students accountable as well, and just get into a pattern of responsibility. So with responsibility comes being active and joining our activities. Even though we're starting distance learning, we still are very active with connecting our freshmen to the Griffin culture. That is a culture of inclusiveness, excellence, and making everybody feel like they belong for their gifts and their talents that they believe or that they bring to Los Alamitos High School. This week we've held our virtual Spirit Connections, and we've had our EASB members work as mentors for our freshmen, and we've had great success with that. We plan on having weekly connections each week with our ASB planning activities, whether it be virtual Spirit Weeks or just collecting information on our social media, trying to gather what they've done in order to feel part of Los Alamitos High School. Whether you're in Los Alamitos High School at home or you're in our high school learning platform at this time, everybody will be connected as one. So Los Al at home, you will be just as much of a part of Los Alamitos High School as everybody. This Friday, we have our materials pickup. We've had 2 very successful days. We had the seniors, we had the juniors, tomorrow's the sophomores, and Friday is a big celebration welcoming our newest Griffins to our family. Something that we want you to do is we have an Instagram page just specifically set up by our ASB directors today. And I'm going to pause and say it slow, and it's at LoSal Connected 2021. So that's at LoSal Connected 2021. That's our new Instagram page just for this dedicated school year, at LoSal Connected 2021. So take a moment, write it down, follow us. We'll also put it in our Parent Square and send it out to you. We want parents to follow us, students to follow us. We already have over 300 followers in just a few hours that it's been activated, and we are ready to have you be connected to Los Alamitos High School. Once again, your best resource for information is parent.losal.org. This will give you grade book information, and will keep you up to date on the assignments that your students have completed or are in progress of completing in order to be successful. We have a partnership with our two activities directors, Mrs. Siaka and Mr. Fenton, who are absolutely outstanding as a team. We call them TNT because they are dynamite, and that is making an all-star Griffin spirit. Last year, our Griffins worked to be one of the nation's most spirited high schools in the United States of America. And there you see a picture of our LoSal locos just beaming with pride and fun. We'll get back to that one day. I know Mr. Smith is crying over here because those are his favorite moments of the football games. But we'll get back to that soon enough. And it may look different this year, but it definitely will be filled with Griffin pride and Griffin love for all things LoSal. With love for all things LoSal comes construction as well. We are so grateful to our community for passing the Measure G bond a few years back that was dedicated to the high school and miscellaneous projects surrounding our district in order to enhance all of our facilities. We said goodbye to the wonderful, wonderful administration building of 53 years that Dr. Stone spent most of his life and career here at Los Alamitos, and you see that it came down to the left. And there it is right now in the center, where we are getting ready to erect a 3-story STEM building that should be opening in the fall of 2022, just around the corner. But until then, we can celebrate days in our luxurious and amazing Olympic-sized pool. The Griffin Aquatic Center has just been completed the past few weeks. We have our water polo teams practicing. We look forward to having all of our aquatics spending joyous times in our pool and having our spectators join us when athletics comes back online next semester. So stay tuned for construction updates, because now you'll be able to see the fruits of our labor and be able to see that STEM building growing as you drive down Los Alamitos Boulevard. We're really excited and so grateful to our community. With that, speaking of amazingness, is Mr. Mullenkamp, and he is our administrator over visual and performing arts, who we absolutely adore. Mr. Mullenkamp is going to talk to us about VAPA at LoSal. Oops, hold on. There we go.
Thank you very much, Dr. Speratos. We are very proud to offer a robust visual and performing arts curriculum at Los Alamitos High School. Our classes celebrate diversity and inclusion, and we create a family atmosphere for students so they can build confidence and make new friends and have a great time learning a new skill. Our national award-winning performing arts classes include marching band, jazz band, concert band, orchestra, dance, drama, music production, and show choir. The visual arts offer dynamic classes in printmaking, painting and drawing, ceramics, photo, and digital media. We are planning on virtual performances for this first semester, and individual programs will be able to share more information about exciting opportunities for our students we'll be offering this fall. Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Phil Bowen, our Assistant Principal of Student Services. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mullenkamp. And let me just forward the slide here. Yes, my name's Phil Bowen. I'm the Assistant Principal of Student Services. One of my primary responsibilities is campus discipline, and that includes the new distance learning model that we are starting the year on. Our goal in the Student Services office obviously is to hold students accountable for their behavior, but also to change their behavior, to provide alternative means of correction, along with consequences, with the goal being a change in behavior and positive, just being positive on campus. I also oversee safety and security. This includes emergency preparedness, our excellent campus supervisor team, and I also work very closely with our local law enforcement agencies, specifically our LoSal PD, and we have an SRO program, and we're looking forward to getting that back up and running. I also oversee our prevention and intervention program. Sorry, my mask keeps falling down here. And that includes our voluntary drug testing, our drug detection canine. We also have an alternative to suspension program when students are caught vaping. We have programs to help, again, change the behavior, provide an alternative means of correction so that it doesn't repeat itself. One of the ways that we're able to keep the campus safe is through our text-to-tip line, and so I thought I'd put that up. If you ever see anything happening that shouldn't be happening, if you receive information of any type of online bullying of any kind, anything that threatens the safety and security of our students, please use our text-to-tip line there. The information goes directly to our Director of Safety and myself, and we address those issues immediately. The departments I oversee are special education, world language, and fine arts. So if you ever have any questions or concerns in any of those departments, you can go ahead and contact me. I also want to talk about our parking, our drop-off, pickup, traffic update. So if you look at the map up here, you'll see a Google Maps view of the school. And the street areas there are Cerritos Avenue and Los Alamitos Boulevard. And in black, you can see the arrows along the white curbs of the boulevard and the avenue there are designated drop-off and pickup areas. You can also see with the green areas where the student entrances are. So we have a west student entrance and an east student entrance. The west student entrance is a walk-in gate. We prefer that students use that. Be careful of the traffic out there. And then students arriving along Cerritos Avenue can use the east student entrance. We ask that parents do not enter the campus to pick up or drop off students. If you have a reason to visit the school, whether it be to come to the main office, attendance office, parent conference, that sort of thing, you can see in blue our visitor staff parking. Our entire front parking lot practically has been taken up by our construction team, who are doing the 3-story building right now. And then I've also indicated staff parking on the west side. It's all of the parking lot on the west side of campus, so please avoid entering or exiting campus on the west side as well. And then finally, I just wanted to go over a few parent support procedures. If you have questions about student grades, first thing you want to do is contact your teacher. You can review the curricular letter, the syllabus that all the teachers put out each year for each of their classes. You can email the teacher directly. That's your best first step in order to get a better understanding of your students' grades or what's going on inside the classroom. You can find information on Aries, and we talked about how to log into that and navigate your way through that a bit tonight. Or your school's PLP, which is located on the Google Drive tile that we also spoke about earlier. If an issue is still not resolved, you can go ahead and contact the counselor. But we find that over 90% of questions or concerns can simply be solved by contacting the teacher. If you have socio-emotional concerns, your first point of contact would be your student's counselor. So contact your counselor to obtain resources or even to be referred to a specialist, which include social workers, we have school psychologists, we have outside agencies we work very closely with and can put you in contact with them. And then when it comes to safety, discipline, behavior, you can contact an administrator. Any one of us you can contact through email. I'm probably the best person to contact if there is a concern with safety or discipline on campus, but if you feel more comfortable, you can reach out to any of us and we'll address your concern. If you'd like, you can always call the office to schedule an appointment, and most of the time, even if you pop in, if we have time, we'll meet with you then. So thank you very much. And the next person to speak tonight is our principal of our Los Al at Home program for the 2020 year, Dr. Kenneth Lepore.
Hey, good evening, Griffin families. Again, my name is Kenneth Lepore, and I am the lead administrator at the Los Al at Home program. And the Los Al at Home program is intended to be a year-long distance learning program to provide a space for students who just don't feel comfortable or otherwise cannot return to campus for the entirety of the year. I think that one really important thing that I wanted to stress tonight was how deeply connected to the Los Alamitos High School the Los Al at Home program is. We are just almost like a separate program for you to do, but you are still and will always be a Griffin. And because of that, all the same supports and all the same procedures that were talked about today about logging on, about getting your parent resources, about checking grades, all those things still apply. Your students will still come in on Friday to get their books and their schedules. They can still participate in all the various freshman activities that were mentioned. And so we want to do a whole bunch to make sure that your students are just as connected to their high school, even if they're not necessarily attending classes every day. And so, but this could be a little bit confusing because you'll be getting communications both through Parent Square, both through the high school and also Los Al at Home. And so we wanted you to remain getting all those contacts about various activities, et cetera, from the high school, but then if there's any specific information that relates simply to Los Al at Home. So if you're a Los Al at Home member, you'll be getting communications from both, and that ought to continue. And then similarly, if you, in the idea of keeping connected, if your student wants to participate in any activity at the high school that's happening after school, maybe if we have dances start or they want to attend a game or they want to be a part of any sport, they are allowed to do so as long as they're doing so outside of the school day. And frankly, we're also working with the Los Alamitos High School ASB to create special activities specifically for the Los Al at Home students and to create ways to just bring them into the larger Los Alamitos High School community to, again, increase the connections they have to campus life and expand their accessibility to things like clubs and those items that allow students to have both meaningful social connections as well as connections to their teachers. And then, again, all those support mechanisms that are at the high school are still there. Your counselors from your freshman year will remain your counselors in the Los Al at Home program until you're a senior. And the school psychologists and all those support personnel are all the same, and they're all going to be there to support. And so, for example, if you have an issue with a class or an academic question that you have, you would still, as a Los Al at Home parent, reach out to the same mechanisms and same people you might normally do on a regular campus. Like if you had, like I said, an academic issue, you might first reach out to the teacher and then perhaps the counselor, and then ultimately, if you still have some issues, you can reach out to me as the Los Al at Home administrator. Again, the piece here is connection, and just as a note, our schedule is because we're so deeply connected. All of our teachers, there's only 2 teachers that are solely Los Al at Home, and so all of the other 70 teachers that we have are teaching part of their class day online and part of their class day in person. And so these will be the same teachers infusing. And so because of that, our schedule at Los Al at Home will always mirror that of the high school. Right now, we're on what they call the distance learning schedule. And we will mirror that in Los Al at Home. And when the school goes on to the hybrid schedule, we will mirror that as well. So I look forward to answering some of your questions, but that's just a broad overview. Thank you, and I'd like to introduce our wonderful new PTSA president, Marita Frank.
Good evening, Griffin families. I just wanted to quickly include everyone in this email, whether you are at home or a traditional student, that the PTSA is for everyone. During these crazy times, supporting PTA is one of the most important things that you can do for our school. PTSA supports many programs at schools, and we need it now more than ever. So we have a goal of 1,500 members, and currently we are just over 300. So it's super easy. A link will be sent out. All you gotta do is click it and join up. We also wanted to let you guys know that spirit wear is open and available for purchase. We have short sleeve shirts, long sleeve shirts, hoodies. Everything comes in separate colors. We offer ranges in sizes from adult smalls through double extra large. We are also in the process of adding face masks, which were really cute. And due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are offering free contactless delivery. So if you order a sweatshirt or t-shirt, whether you are a current traditional student or a LaSalle at Home student, we are all Griffins. We should all be proud to wear the sign and wear the shirt and show them proudly. So we are offering free contactless delivery to your homes. We thank you very, very much. We look forward to working with everyone. We will have room for anyone that wants to help. And I would like to introduce Carrie Logue, who is the Leif Executive Director.
Thank you, Marita. I am Carrie Logue, Executive Director of Leif, and Leif is the nonprofit partner of Los Alamitos Unified School District. Hopefully your incoming freshmen have had great experience with Leif and through our programs in middle school and in elementary school. And I just want to share briefly what opportunities there are for high school students. And Leif does look a little different because there are so many amazing activities and sports and clubs and arts that the kids are involved in through after school and even during school. So it does look different at the high school, but there are a few areas that we support. And one is through driver's education. It's typically offered after school, both spring, fall, and during the summer. And it's open to students who are 15 and a half and older. And it facilitates getting a learner's permit and does not include the behind the wheel component, but that's a great option. In addition, we continue with our STEAM initiative and provide preparation for STEAM projects as well as an on-campus STEAM fair. And of course, high school students participate in our district-wide STEAM showcase. Looking ahead to 11th grade, Leif is really proud to provide a donation-based SAT preparation series of seminars. Again, for 11th graders. I realize this is 2 years ahead, but it's a great time for you to know that the resource is there and plan ahead. Typically it takes place in the spring, and it's 6 Saturday sessions. Again, $90 suggested donation of fantastic SAT prep while kids are looking ahead to college. And then speaking of college, we are honored to partner with our counselors and with many funders in the community to facilitate college scholarships, which are handed out during senior awards night. And this past spring, we were able to support 36 scholarships, totaling over $31,000 for deserving high school seniors. So I realize this is a lot for incoming freshmen, but Leif is here to support through those programs, but also through our continuing grants. Leif does give $10,000 annually to support STEAM at each campus. We've also just approved a $35,000 donation to build out wellness centers at each middle school. So if you have younger kids, those are coming. And we also do specific grants to groups that might need our support. Recently, we've supported the show choir leadership with a special learning opportunity, the hydrogen car racing team, robotics team a few years back, marching band, and orchestra. So please keep Leif in mind for ways that we can support you, your family, and the high school campus through any unique activities that might need some additional funding from Leif. So with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Stone.
Thank you, Carrie. Hopefully we've given you a sampler a little bit of the different activities, academic offerings, as well as protocols here at the high school. We welcome you to the high school. We also know that even with this information, you may have some questions. If you have some questions at this time, you can please send them via email to pbowen@losal.org. So again, pbowen@losal.org. If you could email those questions to us, we'll answer them in a question and answer time right now. For those of you that do not want to stay for the question and answer, you feel free to log off now, and thank you for joining us this evening. Again, this evening's presentation will be on our website tomorrow, so if you need to refer it or refer a friend to it that couldn't come tonight, please do so. One more time, again, if you have questions, we'd like to answer those tonight as best we can. pbowen@losal.org. And again, those of you that have no questions, thank you very much for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you during the school year. Thank you much.
Okay, we have our first question. My daughter is unable to attend the material distribution Friday as we are out of town. Can we get her materials on Monday?
Absolutely. So our, I think it's on. I got a green light. Okay. Absolutely. So our materials pickup is an opportunity, but we definitely are open. Our campus is, all of our employees are working. We're working full time. Our media center is open. We do have class on a schedule, which was emailed via Parent Square, and we'll send that out again. And it's also on our website. So we have a distance learning class of 8-ish until 12:30. And after that, any student may come to campus. Our media center is open with our 2 media center employees, and so we're open from 7:30 until 4. So please come by after classes and pick up your textbooks. We don't anticipate you needing every textbook on the first day of school, so absolutely. And that goes for any grade level.
Will freshmen get a tour of campus before in-person classes resume?
That's a great question. So currently our ASB leadership is choreographing videos to where we take students on a virtual tour of the campus. They just finished their one today. Our ASB president and vice president are very creative, and so they have a little selfie video going along where they are socially distanced and just taking you on a quick tour of what campus looks like. And then as we transition, when we transition, we will have other activities that we'll discuss and brainstorm together in order to transition students appropriately, back onto campus.
Will there be a surf team we did not see the surf team mentioned under athletics. Will there be a surf team this year, and if so, when?
Yes, there will be a surf team. Technically, surf is a club sport, but we treat it like it's one of our own. I should have adjusted that, but it's not listed as a CIF sport, so that's why you didn't see it in the table. But yes, Damian Smith is back as our surf coach. They're kind of working through logistics right now of how surf meets might look, but that's going to be a spring sport for surf. So contact Mr. Smith, who's an on-campus teacher, and he'll have more information. dsmith@losal.org.
Okay, great, thank you. Where do I find out if my son is part of the homeschool or the in-school program?
In order to be part of LoSal at Home, you would have to have filled out an enrollment packet, and each enrollment packet would have been sent a confirmation email saying that you were enrolled in the program. So if you have any questions about enrollment or something, simply email the LoSal at Home program at losalathome@losal.org. Again, LOSALATHOME@losal.org. And again, you can also go to our website, which is on the district website. There's just losal.org, and on the side is a little white button that says LoSal at Home. It's got all of our contact information. So again, if you have any questions about enrollment or where a student should be, it'll be there. And you would only be enrolled in our program if you actively sought it out.
Can you give some more information about the band and orchestra program, especially for the at-home kids?
Well, first, we're delighted to bring Mr. Paul Crockett to Los Alamitos High School as one of our newest Griffins. He has a legendary resume of working at multiple campuses in Texas. He also is from the University of Michigan, correct?
Michigan State.
Michigan State, big band, big celebration. So he brings that college atmosphere to Los Alamitos High School. So we're thrilled to have him. We love Mr. Plunkett, but we're thrilled to have our new Griffins join us as well. So I'm going to defer to Mr. Farver to talk about orchestra and band between LoSal at Home and Los Alamitos High School.
Students who participate in our instrumental music programs will, whether at home or whether with LoSal at Home or Los Alamitos High School, will continue to stay together. The start of the school year will all be distance learners and continue to participate in unison. However, when students do return to the Los Alamitos campus, our instrumental music program, our dance program, our choir program, and our drama program will all host our distance learners through live streaming sessions that occur during the regularly scheduled period. Your individual teacher will communicate more about the type of work and the type of performance that you would do in an at-home setting. However, we're all starting school as distance learners on August 31st.
If kids are placed in a sport for the spring season, what will be happening during that class time until practice starts?
Great question. It looks awfully tough right now with the restrictions that we have in place in terms of number of kids that can be in an area. So what was mentioned today for spring sports is because of the limited number that we can have grouped together, fall sports are going to be given facility priority right now, and spring sports are able to use fields, gyms, things of that nature after fall practices. But we're not where it's sixth period and everybody's out there in a normal school year. So I would say till we move to the reopening guidelines of phase 2 and more loosely phase 3, spring sports will have limited participation on the campus in terms of activity.
Will the LoSal at Home students also be split into A and B groups for hybrid on September 21st?
The short answer is yes.
So can I add to that, Dr. Lepore?
Is there a long answer?
September 21st is the current tentative date for that event. However, please be assured that LoSal at Home and Los Alamitos High School students will follow the exact same bell and instructional schedules so that instruction is uninterrupted for both students and teachers, and there are no conflicts.
Excellent. I was wondering, how will club creation work during freshman year?
It's a great question. We are thinking about it all the time. So Club Rush is usually an activity that takes place within it takes a few weeks for us to stabilize the high school enrollment. It takes a few weeks for us to stabilize the master schedule and all of the teachers and students in the right place. About the 4th week of school, we talk about club launching, and club is all student driven, meaning that students create their clubs. They write a club constitution. They seek out a advisor, a staff advisor. So that will all be the same. And then we'll have digital Club Rush. So through the communication of our Instagram page, LoSal Connected 2021, and through our student email and through Parent Square and through other methods of messaging, highly messaging, we'll most likely do some type of Google survey into where kids can sign up for a plethora of clubs, and we'll make it happen. If it's one thing the kids are, that is creative, and they understand this space like nobody else. So I know that our ASB Clubs Commissioner will work diligently to create a highly accessible and all-inclusive Clubs Rush for all students, whether you're LoSal at home or Los Alamitos High School. Every student, our goal is for every student to be involved in a club, and we have over 100 clubs every year. I anticipate having distance learning clubs or something that's, revitalizing connectivity during our digital world. So yes, it will happen, and it will happen with the amazing talent of our ASB kids.
Will Pathway students start in-person school next week? I can go ahead and answer that. No, they will start on September 21st with...
Well, all students start school on Monday, August 31st. There's a lot of dates being thrown around and changes and shifting patterns, but please do not be confused. Every Los Alamitos High School student, every Los Alamitos Middle School student, and every Los Alamitos Elementary student begins on Monday, August 31st. And you would find at the high school your course information in Aries, but your course portal, your learning portal information at your mylosal.golosal.net tiled portal login.
So yes, every student will start next week, but the in-person learning, I believe our superintendent, Dr. Pulver, just sent out an email today, and the current projection for in-person learning at the high school is scheduled to begin on September the 21st, unless things change. Okay, next question. My son is in 2 choirs this year. I noticed on Aries, neither class counts for PE credits. Should my son add a PE class to his schedule to make 7 periods total?
Mr. Molenkamp. So students who participate in performing arts as a freshman, but would eventually like to earn PE credit for that activity, must delay their opportunity to earn PE credit until their sophomore and junior year. All freshmen enrolled in a performing art will receive fine art credit for that performance group. However, they will still need to, this is a good time for me to address the health education component. All freshmen will receive health education through their PE classes or through a rotational opportunity for student athletes. And we will host non-school day rotations both semesters for students who are not captured in one of those groups to register and earn their health graduation requirement at Los Alamitos High School.
How will jazz band and the other music classes work out during distance? We kind of covered that. Hybrid and even normal because of social distancing.
Well, all the performing arts will be following the county and state guidelines as far as whether they're able to play an instrument or sing. And oftentimes the rules at this point are that they would need to be producing sound outside. Now, once we go through different phases in this fall semester, that may change, but they expect a lot of individual practice at home.
So I'll just chime in because we did it in the summer. It's similar to athletics. So right now we are in the reopening guidelines provided by the county. We're in phase 1, and that would mean if they were going to get together outside right now in appropriate instruments, wind instruments are not appropriate right now, they could be in groups of 10 in a particular space. So as the phases move up, the number of kids that can be in a particular space increases. So it's similar to how we're practicing.
When do we find out if our student is on the AM or PM hybrid track?
We will have that information for you the week prior to September 21st. We are still in process of sorting that out, but our goal is to have it roughly 50% of the students coming in the AM or the track A and 50% in track B. We'll try to honor as best we can siblings to be in the same track. But again, our goal is to make it about a 50-50 split, and you'll get notified the week prior to beginning September 21st.
I ordered my son a Mac. It is now delayed and will not be here before school begins. Can I still request to borrow one from the school and return it when his Mac comes in? Go ahead, Mrs. Sprados.
We have devices for students to loan. We do encourage students to use their own devices. It's the comfort of their own device. They use it with ease. It's definitely automatic to them, but we absolutely have devices that students may check out. They are Chromebooks, and they are much like a textbook. So we have it barcoded, and that's why we ask that students bring their ID. Yes, they check it out and are responsible for returning it when they feel the time is appropriate, and they can keep it throughout the entire year.
Okay, great. When do you think the high school will allow for in-person teaching? And I think we talked about that, September 21st. What is going to happen with transportation to away games slash matches for sports?
At this time, we don't have a good answer for that. In the current phase that we're in, I'm not sure we can get on a bus. When we were in phase 2 earlier in the summer, the guidelines were 12 people to a 55-passenger bus. So that's a great question that I don't have a good answer for. Hopefully we'll be in a better phase of reopening when we actually need kids to get to away matches or games.
Excellent. Okay, so there's actually 3 questions to this next email. I'll take mine first. What will happen if students are not wearing masks properly or take them off around campus? Well, the expectation is that students wear masks at all times while on campus. And so if they are not wearing a mask for any reason, we're obviously going to warn them and work with them and their families to wear a mask while they're at school. If they continue to refuse to wear a mask, then they will not be allowed to participate in the hybrid or at-school program and will be transferred, to the best of my understanding, to the LoSal at-home program. How many students will be in each class in both traditional and LoSal at home?
We are working to balance all classes. There are traditional class sizes, and we are working to provide those numbers to all teachers on campus at this time and off campus.
How is the group for AB determined? Some parents work full-time and earlier would be easier.
In terms of the A and B for hybrid, right now it's looking like it will probably break out alpha, and that might be a little bit different for 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade, because we need to have each of those grade levels approximately half the students. And again, we'll get more information the week prior to the 21st, so long as that date holds as far as our return date. But that's about as much as we have right now as far as information on the 2 different tracks for hybrid.
At this point, what is the plan for facilitating choir classes?
Well, just like it will be for all classes, there'll be a lot of there'll be instruction that will follow the normal school schedule that every student will be following. We will also be offering many types of resources online, so kids can practice individually vocally. We'll be doing some choreography during class, and also learning, and they'll be preparing for our first virtual performance that will be held the fourth weekend in October.
Excellent. Okay, next question. That's a club question. We covered that one. I was wondering, okay, we talked about clubs. Another club question. Will the teachers have materials listed of what students need for all three education models?
I'm not certain I understand. The teaching is the teaching. Mrs. Speratos and our campus teams have been handing out text materials this week. I believe some additional materials may be coming for students in certain hands-on courses, but their hybrid is just a scheduling and time of day program. It does not change necessarily the type of learning that would be going on in courses, so there would not be separate or special materials needed for that schedule for the campus. The at-home students would need their textbook, which we have available at school. There are also digital textbooks that are pushed out in some disciplines. And I think teachers, well, I do know teachers often provide many learning materials through our online portals at Schools PLP.
I think maybe also one is the reference of three models being the three platforms of Los Alamitos High School, Los Al at home, and maybe when we return. But the courses will remain intact. The course that we start on day one has the same syllabi and expectations that it does when we return, at that time. And the course materials remain the same also. We also have our media center open, so at any time, students will need to return or exchange or gather more books. English is, for example, with all of our students, we gave out the first 2 novels, but in some courses, there's up to 6 or 8 that a class may be reading. So it will be where we have opportunities after school hours, to come and exchange those books for the materials needed in order to finish the course. But we're providing the textbooks needed now for the duration of this semester.
Yeah, and there may be some circumstances with the Los Al home families that where students are in a science class, for example, for the year, where there may be a need to distribute some more manipulatives or other activities, and those will be directed by the teachers, and we will have distribution from likely either the high school or district office in those rare cases.
I wanted to also add, we will, as Ms. Sperato said, we'll provide the textbooks that they need. However, sometimes students like to highlight their own books, especially novels and things. If that's the case, the student or parent would be responsible to purchase those, because the ones we do check out would need to come back in that same condition. Also, the teachers will probably be sending out early on their classroom management plan, which will also include any materials they might need for that course, whether it be at home or whether it be traditional on campus.
What is the link for the Spiritware again, please? That would be www.losalspiritware.com. So www.losalspiritware, all one word, .com.
It's highlighted right there on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, likely.
And it'll be on the PowerPoint that's put on the website as well. Will the Los Al at home students now be able to take dance and orchestra electives that they had auditioned for in the spring?
That they
Go, Dr. Lepore, you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, so there are certain subsets of programs that were created in each of those areas, and students were scheduled into those. There are, those classes are not for the same fine art credit that was initially done, so it,
yeah, students won't receive PE credit for those courses.
Right,
So
excuse me,
if
PE.
you were a sophomore or a junior who delayed your earning of PE credit through your performing art, you can still earn fine art credit or
Right.
elective credit for it, but you will not be able to earn PE credit, and will need to take PE through our online service.
How will the desk partition work? Will they get wiped down after each period and sprayed? Desks will be wiped down. We will be sending supplies out to teachers, cleaning supplies that they will use in between periods to clean off, desks and make sure that rooms are sanitized for the incoming students. My daughter never received a link from ASB to the freshman meet. She has also not heard anything from her counselor. Should I be concerned?
For our freshman connections, it's a pilot, and we're working out the kinks, but the ASB has committed to, even after this week, we're going to have ongoing connection opportunities next week. And so my best, please contact the attendance office, because we will give you the name of the counselor. We will also reiterate the link for our ASB connections, and we'll get that taken care of. So if you contact my office, call the school on 82226, and we're happy to work out those kinks for you and provide an opportunity.
Sports that are not scheduled in the fall, the students will only be doing conditioning to prep for the spring?
Not necessarily. It'll depend on what phase we're in. It'll depend on coach preference, availability. Spring sports have the ability now to meet at school in small numbers and participate. So once we start next Monday, fall sports will be given a priority. But as I explained to coaches today, that's not to say that teams that wanted to use the turf and turn the lights on at night could come out and make that happen. So, or sports that use the field wanted to come here at the district office and use the district office field at times. So yeah, springs are going to have, sports are going to have availability. It's just going to be probably limited till we get to at least a phase 2.
Will there be a rugby team and season?
Rugby is technically a club, and I don't know what their plans are at this time.
Since we won't be getting our students' materials until Monday afternoon, will she be able to see/print her schedule from home?
Yes, so we're still in the process of enrolling students, putting them in courses, balancing them, and making sure that our master schedule, which is just a very complex puzzle for all of our students to be put in the right courses, the right sections. We do have courses matched up with students. So on the student materials day, students receive their courses, which is a piece of paper that has what they're enrolled in. It is not the period of the day nor the teacher at this time. That is the mastering of Mr. Farver, and he does it amazingly well. So we hope, and we will, Friday afternoon at parent.losal.org, in your Aries portal, you will be able to see student courses, the period of the day that they're scheduled, and that's when the ironing works out if we have any conflicts over the next 2 weeks for things to be suppressed and fixed. But Friday evening, we hope to have everything in place for the launch on Monday morning, and then that is when you will go to the mylosal.golosal.net, log in, and on that school's PLP tile, you will see the courses that will then link to the curriculum. But simultaneously, we'll be using Google Meets, and Google Meets is the video platform, and the teachers will be communicating with students once our rosters are finalized for a link to be able to say hello. So the two platforms run simultaneously in parallel, which is School's PLP, which is the content house, and then the Google Meets, which is the video house.
Can you further explain how the teachers will be teaching traditional students versus LoSal at home? Are they the same teachers teaching both at the same time or separate sessions?
For LoSal at home, there's going to be two models that we're utilizing. The first is to have a dedicated section for a teacher that is 100% LoSal at home students having a entirely virtual experience. However, the second model is in an attempt to make sure that there was access for as many student courses as possible. There is going to be certain classes that have what we would call either a blended or a streaming place where you will have literally, when we come back together, well, when we're on the hybrid schedule and students are physically coming to campus, there will be a cohort of physical students in the classroom, and then our LoSal at home students will be utilizing a webcam and camming in. And we're going to have teachers' assistants to support this work and to help create as many interactional opportunities and to make sure the children can see and interact with the material. But there's going to be those two models.
What's the difference between Parent Square and Aries? I thought we were now using Parent Square.
It's a fantastic question. So they parallel each other. Aries is database. So Aries holds all of our student information, your grades, your student contact information. Parent Square is a communication vehicle. Parent Square is what pushes out all of our notification. It replaces School Messenger. So School Messenger was our district-wide communication where you would receive phone calls or emails that were sent out to grade levels or school-wide. Aries is our student database, which holds all of the demographics of each of our students.
Will our freshmen get their class schedules when they pick up their materials on Friday? Yes, they will.
They'll receive their courses, not the period of the day nor the teacher.
If the student is unavailable to pick up materials on Friday, can the parent or adult sibling pick up the materials for him?
Absolutely. Please bring a student ID card. We work off of a barcode system, so even the middle school ID card will read the barcode of the student. If that's not available, we use the 10-digit ID number, which is printed on the student course list. So yes, you may pick up items for your student.
Will students be able to make a change of class subject after we get schedules?
At this time, thank you, Dr. Lepore. At this time, I feel like I'm going to steal a line from Mr. Smith. I don't have a good answer for that yet. There is not a lot of space at this time, but we will work with families and their counselor at the high school to determine the best supports available for students in the courses that they've been given.
Excellent answer, Mr. Farver. It was mentioned that fall sports are on campus practicing. Does that include football? We have not heard to enroll our child. Should we check the athletics page?
So football is not currently on campus practicing at this time, and I believe their plan is to physically come back and practice till we get to phase 2, where you can have larger groups of kids together. If your son is an incoming freshman and did not participate in the freshman camp that went on this summer, then yes, absolutely, they should contact Coach Fenton. The contact information is on the LoSal link on the webpage.
Okay, the next one I think is about hybrid AM/PM. We've talked about that. Okay. If I wanted to sign up for fall traditional cheer, who would I go to about asking?
So cheer had tryouts already in the last spring and in the beginning of summer. So I'm not sure if it's possible to still be involved in cheer, but Jen Ramirez is our cheer coordinator, and she's an on-campus teacher, so Jen Ramirez is who you'd want to speak to. You can find cheer link on the athletics page.
When is the PLP learning guide coming out for parents?
We have a resource that we'll be pushing out to parents in terms of how students log on to their PLP. But it is a student learning platform. And the courses, once you click the link, then you'll see really teacher programmed syllabi, coursework, expectations, assignments. So PLP is a holding bin. It's a house that inserts all of the content for the course. Students will log on to their Go LoSal portal, click PLP, and their courses will be right there. And then under the guidance of their teacher via the Zoom, or we're not using Zoom, Google Meets, will be some instruction in terms of which courses to use, when the deadlines are, assignments. And so it really is an interactive relationship and communication between the teacher and the student.
I can also say that I was speaking to the folks who are making those instructional videos, and they said that they'd likely be out by Friday. But it's also just to underscore what Ms. Parado just said, is that the school's PLP system is, from the parent and student side, quite intuitive. So it's not a huge learning curve, but those informational videos will be out as soon as we can get them.
What is the procedure for an incoming freshman who would like to be on the water polo team? Do we contact the coach directly or talk to the counselor?
You should first contact the coach directly. So both of our coaches are on campus. Both of those programs are fall sports that are currently practicing. They're varsity teams only because of our limited numbers in an area. So I don't think lower level teams have been established yet. And Coach Dana and Coach Carlson for boys and girls are on-campus teachers. They'll be checking their emails, so yes.
My daughter auditioned for Mrs. Jones' dance class. Will Los Al at Home students now be able to have their dance classes?
That's also a scheduling issue. I would contact the student's counselor.
If my student/athlete is registered in Los Al at Home, is she excluded from practicing with her team? Do the sports teams practice during regular school hours or after school?
It's a good question. So initially there was word out that Los Al at Home was not going to be able to be involved in extracurricular things, choir or athletics, band, color guard, those things. But I think we've made a change to that. The guidelines are now that Los Al at Home students are allowed to come on campus after their school day has ended to participate in those type of activities. So yes, as far as sports, a Los Al at Home person could come on our campus after their school day has ended to participate in practice.
And also in those rare cases, they can also come before school. As long as it's outside the Los Al at Home school day, then students can participate in any activity that they're allowed to.
They would not be enrolled in the 6th period athletic course, however, and to complete their PE credit, especially if a freshman or a sophomore, they would need to take PE through Los Al at Home, and then they would need to contact their specific coach about what participating outside of the school day would look like.
Correct. So there may be times where a in-season team in the fall might be practicing in our hybrid model in 6th period that may not be available to them.
Okay, another question about schedules, which will be given out to the courses to your student on Friday, just not the periods. Once we transition to hybrid setting, will my child be attending school from Monday through Friday, or will it only be a couple of days a week?
So all students in the current iteration of the hybrid schedule will attend some portion of Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. On Wednesdays, it will be a full day of instruction for either all the A students or the B students. So every other week, each cohort will have Wednesday off or be attending, depending on which cohort belongs that week.
Great. Another scheduling question we answered. Let's see. Could you please address the Los Al at Home teachers? Are they currently high school staff members, or were they just recently hired for the students on the Los Al at Home?
All the teachers at every level of the Los Al at Home program are all experienced Los Alamitos teachers. There's nobody new hired, and these are all, like I said, all but 2 teachers are literally teaching 3 periods of the students when they come in person, as well as several periods of Los Al at Home. These are all our own teachers, all our own people, all that same quality and passion that you've come to expect from Los Al is all going to be there at Los Al at Home.
Will there be busing available once hybrid teaching opens on September 21st?
We don't have that information at this time.
Yeah, not at this time. We do not know. As of today, I believe the answer would be no, but that could change.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the restraints of how many people can be on a bus would be in place in the hybrid model. That would be like a lesser phase. Maybe when we return to traditional, but.
AM, PM start times, I'm assuming that's for the hybrid model. I don't know those off the top of my head. School starts at 7:48, 7:52 in the morning. So that would probably be the AM.
And then there's a break midday for transition of students off campus and new groups onto campus, and then the end of the day.
Well,
I think the best
important.
bet would be, there is our opening, schools reopening and safety plan is on the district website. And in that document, they do have the distance learning plans for all levels, elementary, middle, and high. And they have the hybrid models also listed there. So your best, that is also a fluid document, but I would go there now to see the exact timeframes for the cohort A and cohort B at the high school level.
I think it's also important for our families to understand how large the influence of Los Alamitos High School is. We have middle schoolers that come onto our campus, so we need to also make sure that our schedule times give accessibility to our middle school students, and it's just a very complex and intricate relationship in terms of our bill schedule. So there are samples in our opening, but we can't commit to a time exactly right now until we work on the master schedule for our hybrid learning environment.
Is there a school nurse available on campus? Yes, when students return to school, we will have a health clerk available on campus.
We do have our school LVN and available right now at the high school. She's actually helping us with the registration and materials pickup. If you ever have a question for any of our health employees, please contact us and we're happy to get you in touch with them. Leave a message. You can email them. Cassandra Palacios is our LVN. She's amazing and willing to help you in any way with questions that you have at the high school for Los Al at home and for Los Alamitos High School.
Okay, hybrid question, we answered that. Did you say that the class size for traditional will be a full class of 30 plus students?
I mean, our classes are regularly sized classes. It's the hybrid model where they would be divided on certain times of day and certain times of week. But our classes are traditionally sized at this time.
And similarly at the Los Al at Home, our class sizes would mirror those as a traditional classroom.
And then it says, how will students be 6 feet apart? The best of my understanding, the requirement is that the teacher desk is 6 feet away from the student desk. I know teachers are going to do their very best to practice social distancing and keep the desks as far apart as possible.
And I think that it's also good to reference that it's a very robust document that's on the district website at losal.org. It's called the 2020-21 Reopening Guide. It's got all the detailed information about safety protocols, sanitation and disinfecting protocols, social distancing, schedules. It's got pretty much all the stuff, a lot of the information you might need. It's all there. It's all on the website. Very easy to access.
District website. Okay, next question. Can we wear face shields instead of face masks? Again, there are many nuances to the reopening guidelines. You can, again, find that on the website, but I believe the answer to that question is yes. I think if the teacher is providing direct instruction, say in a foreign language class, and needs students or a choir class, something like that, I believe a face mask would be sufficient.
Face shield.
Face shield would be sufficient. But again, check those guidelines on the website. My son is assigned, if my son is assigned to either A or B and we are not able to take him to school because we usually will use the school bus service, can we change him to Los Al at Home after we know which time he was assigned?
Unfortunately, enrollment in Los Al at Home is shut. We are packed, and there is a waiting list that is being formed, and once school starts, folks are locked into their choice.
Okay, the next question, just same thing.
You know, to help with that though, city bus, our city bus is functioning? Usually, I don't know the answer to that.
Another question about social distancing in the hybrid model. And again, I would refer you to the district website that discusses all of the nuances in regard to school opening, social distancing, and the plan for that. Where can I find my daughter's at-home enrollment to verify registration?
Again, if you have any questions about registration, go ahead and email the Los Al at Home program at losal@losal@home@losal.org. Again, all the information about contact is on the district website under a little tab on the right that's a big white little bookmarker that says Los Al at Home. If you have any questions about enrollment, we'll get back to you ASAP.
But in the meantime, please come and pick up your course materials because regardless of the learning environment, the courses remain the same as do the materials needed.
Thank you.
Okay, so can we please donate masks for kids and make this a positive instead of punishing kids that may not be able to have access to them, please? We have plenty of masks for students. Any student who needs a mask will be provided with a mask. Can my daughter participate remotely and on-site 2 days a week after Labor Day if OC is taken off the watch list? I'm not sure I understand that question. OC is off the watch list, and the current plan is to come back for in-person instruction on the hybrid schedule on September 21st.
But fundamentally, students are required to attend school on all regular days. As long as we're back on campus, they must attend school on all the required days.
Right.
You can't choose to come 2 and not come 3, for example. And those are state, attendance regulations.
And the only, exception to that is if you are full-time on the LoSal at-home program.
Right, then you wouldn't be coming in.
Then you wouldn't be coming in.
But you'd be attending virtually every day.
Every day. Will students be using lockers for middle school and high school after reopening for hybrid learning? Yes, any student who wants a locker will be assigned a locker. Lockers are not nearly as popular as in high school anyway, as they were back when I was a student. A lot of students like to carry their books around, so we have a lot of available lockers, and one will be assigned to your student.
To add on that, people have asked, where is my locker? We did not assign lockers at this time for distance learning to take this time to strategize the best way to use our lockers when it is time for us to return. So when we remake the master schedule to be hybrid, we will assign lockers, and those lockers can be assigned to be spaced away, distance from one another. So we'll be very strategic and methodical in the way that we assign lockers to students.
Okay, when will start? Okay, we've answered that one. Freshman IDs.
We're really excited. Sometimes creativity, or actually necessity, breeds amazing creativity, and there's no better time than when you're forced to be creative. So our picture company, Pictures with Class, had an idea to do virtual IDs for the first time. And it was an absolute pilot. We have a 95% turnaround with our students who have taken advantage of this high five software where you take a selfie and it goes through a screening process of making sure that it's an appropriate picture. It's uploaded to a cloud, and our picture company graciously is without cost printing ID cards, and they are ready for the students who met the early pilot deadline of August 6th. What's happening is it's been such a great pathway in order to have an ID card. It eliminates the lines, it eliminates hours of our registration process. So we'll be having the cards printed in bulk volume every week and delivered to the high school. And then we'll have distribution, or depending on how many come, I may mail them home. But we've had a huge, huge success with this pilot. And so yes, every student will receive an ID card. If you did not take advantage of the virtual ID process, then there's an 800 number that I have been sharing with you via Parent Square. And also at the materials pickup, the photographer company is there as well in order to resend a link. But goodness, we're at only 400 people now who didn't utilize the virtual ID process, and we're really excited to kind of change the way we do business now, and we're hopeful that we'll use this for years to come.
Since spring sports tryouts have not occurred, how, maybe we answer this, my child be put in that sport instead of general PE?
Can you say it one more time, Phil? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. So, since spring sports tryouts have not occurred, how will my child be put in that sport instead of general PE?
So you should be emailing the coach of the sport you're looking to enroll in and speaking with that coach about getting into the 6th period class of that program. So coaches are going to try to be accommodating as much as possible. Obviously, there's two sides to that. We want to accommodate everybody, we want people to connect to school and be involved, but in the phase that we're in right now, the more people you put into sport, the less people are going to have opportunities because you can only have so many at a particular time. So spring sport coaches have been told to try to be accommodating if they're contacted, and that there'll be tryouts probably at the end of the first semester to move on within the program. So the distinction there would be you'll be allowed to be in the 6-period class in the fall, but there'll be a tryout to make the program in the spring.
Okay, what courses and or programs have been cut due to cutbacks? I don't know that any programs or courses have been cut due to programs. We take pride in trying to provide high quality program, and to the best of my knowledge, nothing has been cut. Let's see. If a student is doing online schooling, can they still try out for a sport? I think that Mr. Smith said definitely so, yes.
Yes.
And if they make the team, can he or she go to the team's practices? And again, the answer is yes to that.
As long as they're after school.
Oh, thank you. Yes, as long as they're after school. Got it. Okay. What percentage of high school students are enrolled in LoSal at Home? Is it 20?
I think at the last round for a little bit like around the 17 to 18% mark. I think district-wide we're at 21.5%. There's a little bit of a larger enrollment in the elementary levels than at the secondary.
That one's a hard one to answer. So freshmen dance students on the LoSal at Home pathway will be able to continue with their daily dance course. If the dance class cannot be used as PE credit, however, do those students need to give up another elective to take PE, or do they have another year that they can take the PE requirement?
They would have another year. They could, that freshman year, they could receive performing arts credit or fine arts credit, but if they choose to enroll on campus next year, they could receive PE credit for their dance class, starting their sophomore, junior, and senior year. But freshmen do not receive PE credit online or even on campus for performing arts class.
Okay, great. Can we get a PowerPoint or picture of that explanation of all those websites you just mentioned and what they're for? So I think Dr. Lepore, I think something, did you say PLP, maybe Friday? He mentioned Aries, LoSal Parent Portal, Parent Square.
Yes, so on our district website, and I don't know if you want to go to our district website, Mr. Bowen, but on our district website, up in the right-hand corner, are links to many of these. It's a link to Aries. It's a link to, in fact, if you want to bring up the district website, losal.org. We have a wonderful and robust new website. It's easy to navigate once you find certain pressure points to navigate. And so as you see with our district website right now, you see the LoSal at Home distance learning on the right with the third box. But up at the top there is resources for parents. The My LoSal portal is the LoSal for students. You also see Aries up at the top. That would be your Aries portal for parents. And you see links for Leif. You see the different schools. But this is, if you go to the menu on the right-hand side, you'll find all of our A's, athletics, activities, academics, and the arts. Actually, it's under Los Alamitos High School. But this is a wealth of information and knowledge, and it's very intuitive once you just find the right starting point. The other thing that we're excited that Parent Square offers is an embedded newsletter, and so we are going to have Griffin Weekly Updates, and we will launch our first one hopefully on Friday. It's being finished, being built, and on the right-hand side of that will be quick links to everything. So the nice thing about Parent Square is that it's a running thread. So maybe before you were searching through emails and saving emails, but the Parent Square is a running thread, much like a social media site, to where everything stays in your vision until it's pulled down from one of our offices. So Parent Square, Tina Fenner, and the assistant in the activities office. She is the master at Los Al, so please email her or call the attendance office for any hiccups in Parent Square. But we really have had a successful launch, and we feel that that's going to be a very concise and integrated communication piece, a one-stop shop for all of our messages that we send out to families, where you can go back as a resource or a hub where they all stay. So you're not searching for when did they send that email, when did they send that email. And so look for the Griffin Weekly Update to be connected to that as well.
Okay, another one on ID cards we answered. AM, PM, we answered that for hybrid. If the students in sports, can they still do an AM hybrid? Yes. Okay, answered that one already. We talked about lockers. Will my child who has an instructional assistant meet this person before returning to campus on 9/21? Will they be assisting in distance learning? They probably will not meet the instructional assistant prior to coming to school on the 21st. And yes, many of our instructional assistants are participating in the distance learning, but maybe I'll defer part of that question to Dr. Lepore can answer.
Yeah, so if it's a one-on-one aid, then all the same services that are written into a student's IEP will also be done with as much fidelity as possible and as required by the IEP through the Los Al Home program, as well as the distance learning program at the high school itself. And so if you do have a one-on-one aid, that aid will be contacting you and providing some services virtually until we come back on campus. And in the distance learning model through the Los Al Home, those same services will be provided. It'll just have to be a workout about how that, with the families, about how those services are provided to support the student best. And again, those are all driven by the goals and specifics of the IEP document.
Awesome. Do students who need meds at school need to bring forms medication by August 31st or wait until September 21st?
That would wait until we have our transition period. So right now, having medications at school would not behoove the student. It would behoove them more at home to utilize them. But as we do begin our conversations for transitioning into a hybrid on-campus environment, those are definitely questions that will be discussed and answered. And so we'll have to have transition days as well. And that will be very creative as we brainstorm it together.
Mr. Smith, I'm not sure if you answered this. My son is planning on playing football. Do I have to email Coach Fenton to have my son enrolled in 6th period PE, or will they have to move his whole schedule around to accommodate him playing football once the team is established?
So for freshman football, they're pretty much accommodating anybody showing interest. So yes, you should contact Coach Fenton, and I don't think it's going to be a schedule change at this time, but I don't know if the schedules have been established yet. So contact Coach Fenton.
Again, here's another bus question. That's still up in the air. It's a good question, though. How are they going to bus middle school students back to their campus? And then we talked about the AM hybrid. So, to be determined. We're not sure how to answer that question exactly at this time. Okay, this is the first I'm hearing face shields would ever be allowed. The plan says mask required 3rd and up. Why would this change? Okay, so, I believe the vast majority of the time, if the teacher is wearing a face mask, it'll also be accompanied by a face shield. But if the teacher is in front of the classroom teaching certain subjects, there are times that they may not be wearing a face mask. But again, the specifics as to how that'll happen are in the guidelines. Do incoming freshmen have to take PE this year? Is PE being offered to Los Al at home students? How many years of PE are required for graduation?
Yes, yes, and yes. PE is provided to all students. Student athletes earn their PE credits that way. Students at Los Al at home who are freshmen will be enrolled in a PE course. And in order to graduate, students need 20 credits of PE, which is the equivalent of 2 years or 4 semesters.
Okay. All right, let me just read this. If my student's sport meets at 6th period and they are not having practice during 6th period, when we go on hybrid on September 21st, will they then be released from school after 5th period?
That's possible. Individual coaches are going to come up with their own ideas of what's going to be best for a particular sport. So without knowing fall or spring there, I'm assuming it's kind of geared like it's a spring sport. But yes, it's going to be what phase we are in that's going to be able to accommodate how many people and spaces on our campus. So even if we participate in 6th period or participate after 6th period, space is still limited in the current phase that we're in. And even when we move to phase 2, there's going to be limited spaces that will mostly be taken up in the prime hours, like right after school, 6th period, by fall sports. That's not to say that kids could not be released home. This happens in even a normal school year. We send kids home, and sports like basketball, soccer, they come back and practice in the evening. So.
Excellent. Can a freshman student participate in both drama and a spring sports elective? Will the rehearsal practice be conflicting?
It just depends what sport they're in and what after-school activity. They may be in the drama class, but if they are participating in the 7th period class and also a 6th and 7th period, or a 6th and a after-school sport, it may be somewhat of a conflict. Oftentimes the coaches and staff, teachers will work together, but it just depends what they're enrolled in.
Someone taking minutes, and we'll publish the questions and answers, please. This is all being recorded, live streamed via YouTube, and so you can use the same link that you used to get on to the presentation tonight to watch the presentation again and hear the answers to our questions. We'll also be posting the link to the presentation on our school website. Do sports teams practice during school or after school?
Both.
Both?
Both.
So I guess a parent site, parent.losal.org is down, perhaps. Is it possible to switch my student from the at-home program to the hybrid program?
If you want to switch from Los Al at home to the high school, you are legally allowed to do so up until Friday. When school starts, the choices are locked. We cannot accept any more new enrollments to Los Al at home because our classes are full. But if you decide that you want to return to the traditional model, you need to contact the Los Al at home program and let us know.
And you have until this Friday to do so?
Correct.
Okay. All right, for sports, do recent changes mean a student cannot participate in, say, both tennis and basketball?
So tennis and basketball will be in the same season. They're both in the spring, so that will be challenging. I'm not saying it's impossible, but that will be challenging to do both.
My son is an incoming freshman and was on the hockey team last year. Does he need to try out again, and would it count as PE?
So hockey, like rugby, is a club sport for us, and so it does not earn PE credit. And I have no information about that club. I think if you go to club sports, if you can scroll down just a little bit, it's right on the bottom right, Phil, right? So there is a link for club sports, and that's the best contact I have for hockey, rugby, sports. So there is a link there that they have a Facebook page for hockey. That's the best contact information I have for them.
Excellent. Okay, thank you, Mr. Smith. And that does it. Thank you very, very much for the excellent questions. Thank you all for being here tonight. And we wish you an awesome freshman year. Welcome to Los Al. Go Griffins.
Thank you.
Thank you.